All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Learning Kitchen Live. My name is Liz, and I'm a registered dietitian. And here at Community Servings, I work in the Food and Health Policy Department. Before we get started, I want to be sure to give a big thanks to our friends at Boston Scientific for their continued support of Learning Kitchen Live. And to let you know if you're looking for the recipe or handouts today, you can find it in the comments section. So today we're going to be making overnight oats, and we're going to be putting a little bit of a fall spin on it. We're going to be adding some pumpkin pie or some pumpkin puree for a nice fiber content, and then also we'll be adding in some pumpkin pie spice, and that's going to add some nice warm cozy fall flavors. So I don't know about you, but fall is certainly a really busy time of year, whether you're starting some new routines or perhaps you're having to get the kids to school early, or maybe you're having to go in the office a little bit more regularly. And I know that busy schedules make for busy mornings, which makes it very difficult to get breakfast in some days. And that's why overnight oats is such a wonderful recipe to have under your belt. It's a great recipe to make in advance. I literally make this every single week, and I portion it out in my refrigerator so that I can grab it either for a quick breakfast at home or I can eat it on the go. It's also nice and high in fiber, so I know it's going to keep me full until lunchtime. So let's go ahead and get started. What's really great about this recipe too is that it also comes together in just one bowl, and many of these ingredients you may already have at home in your pantry or in your refrigerator. So we're going to get started with our oats. I'm using rolled oats here. And if you're not familiar with overnight oats, it's really just a way to prepare oats so that they absorb the liquid overnight and there's no cooking required. As the oats absorb these liquids that we'll add to it, they get nice and soft and creamy, just as if you had spent time cooking them on your stovetop or in your microwave. And we are using rolled oats. It's also called old-fashioned oats. And it is important to use this type of oats because if you use the quick cooking oats, it's going to be too chewy and too mushy. And if you use the steel cut oats, it's going to be a little too chewy. So really, just as Goldilocks said, overnight oats and the old-fashioned oats are just right for your overnight oats recipe. It's also a great source of fiber that's going to help you stay full longer. It's going to help keep your blood sugar a little bit more stable and help with lowering cholesterol. Next, I want to add some chia seeds. I've got about 2 teaspoons of chia seeds here. If you're not familiar with chia seeds, they're kind of a little nutrition powerhouse. They're a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. They're high in fiber as well. They also are a good punch of protein. But why I like them so much in overnight oats is because as they absorb the liquid, they kind of create a little bit of a gel, which makes a nice creamy texture for the oats as they set up overnight. Now for our fall spices and those warm, cozy flavors, I've got some pumpkin pie spice mix here. This is really nice because you get a blend of nutmeg and ginger and cinnamon all together. If you can't find it at the grocery store, that's just fine. Substituting cinnamon would be just fine in this, and you still get those warm, cozy flavors. So I'm just going to mix this up now. I want to get my spices distributed and coating my oats. I want to make sure that I've got those chia seeds distributed relatively evenly throughout the oats. And now we'll start to add in our wet ingredients. So I'm using plain canned pumpkin puree. You definitely want to choose this and not a pumpkin pie filling because that will have a lot of extra sugar. But the pumpkin puree is great. It's a great source of fiber. We're just going to use 1/4 cup here, which means you'll actually have a lot left over in the can, which is nice because so many baking and recipes feature pumpkin in the fall. So you can use this in pumpkin muffins and pumpkin bread. You can even cover the can and put it in your refrigerator for your next batch of pumpkin overnight oats. But like I said, the pumpkin does have a great source of fiber. It's high in vitamin C and E, also full of antioxidants. If you don't like pumpkin, but you want to keep in the fall theme, you could certainly add in an applesauce. That would be a really nice way to add some fall flavorings here too. Next, I'm going to add Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is great because it also is a good source of protein, but it's also nice and creamy texture for the oats, and it's a good source of probiotics. It has a little tang, which is kind of nice. If you don't like yogurt, you certainly don't have to use it. You could just use all milk as your liquid, but it will be a little bit thinner consistency. So just note that if that's the route you choose to go. And I added about 1/4 cup of our Greek yogurt. And then I'm going to add in a half a cup of milk. There are so many milk options in the market these days, so I just say use what your favorite milk is or whatever you have on hand at home. I like to use almond milk, an unsweetened almond milk, but you could use cow's milk, you could use soy milk, hemp milk, oat milk, whatever you like to use. Just know that if you are using one of those milk alternates, you want to be sure to look for something that's unflavored, because oftentimes you can get some sweeteners in if you're not choosing the unflavored on the label. Then we're going to add in some sweetness. I've got about a tablespoon of honey here. Maple syrup would also be really nice. Also, too, if you have some bananas at home that are getting pretty ripe, I like to just cut that in half, mash it up, and have that be the sweetness that I add in my oats. And last but not least, we have a little bit of vanilla extract. I'm just going to measure out about a half a teaspoon. This is just a nice flavor addition. If you don't have it at home or aren't a fan of the vanilla flavor, you certainly can leave that out. It's not a required ingredient in this recipe. So now I'm just going to mix this all together. What I'm looking for is I just want to make sure that all the oats get coated, your yogurt and your pumpkin get all combined nicely. It's a nice orange color. But really that's it. It is super fast and easy. This is ready for me now to pop in my refrigerator for overnight. And I want to show you what this looks like made and also talk a little bit about how you could store this if you choose not to keep it in the bowl in your refrigerator. So I have made a batch of my pumpkin overnight oats already. And you can see they're nice and creamy. They're pretty thick. I like to store mine in these mason jars. It's called a wide mouth mason jar. It's really nice because it's easy to get a spoon in there. These stack pretty well in your refrigerator as well too. Any container with a tight fitting lid though will work really well. Another container that has worked really well for me, if you have some leftover pint-sized ice cream containers, these are nice lightweight to fill up as well and take to go. So now that we've got our pumpkin overnight oats portioned out here, we get to talk about the fun part, which is all the flavorings and seasonings that you can add to it. So to stay in our fall theme here, I've got some pumpkin seeds and some dried cranberries. But of course, there's just so many options that you can go with in how you choose to flavor your pumpkin overnight oats. Some of my favorites end up being peanut butter and banana. No day is complete for me without peanut butter, but you could certainly use a lot of great fresh berries, peaches, chopped up almonds. You really have so many different routes you can go with the flavor toppings, and that really makes this feel like you have a lot of variety to add in your breakfast each day. Also, if you have some frozen fruit on hand, that's a great one to throw in, particularly as it sits in your refrigerator over the course of a week. It can get nice and defrosted and be ready for you when you're ready for it. So that's our pumpkin overnight oats recipe. I really hope that you'll give this a try, and I think that you'll find that it's super satisfying. It comes together really quick and easy, and it's something that you can fit in even when you have a really busy schedule. So thanks so much for joining today. I hope we'll see you next week on Learning Kitchen Live.